Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and we are here for Friday Night Live. Thank you so much for joining me. Wow. Just 10 minutes ago, I was in the basement with my handyman with a wrench trying to fix the water heater. So the joys of home ownership, and I am so thrilled to have this home. And I'm actually really happy to have found him too. So yeah, pretty interesting. I thought, man, I need to put the wrench down and go do this live video. So how are you guys doing? I hope you got through the weekend okay, the week okay, and I hope you have good plans for this weekend to take care of yourself, do something fun somewhere, somehow. We really have to continue to take care of ourselves. Let's just dive in. Yeah, exactly. Let's just dive in. And that's exactly who I was going to talk about first is Angie Nixon. Look, you guys, Angie Nixon, it should be our spirit animal. We are just going to make her our political spirit animal because, first of all, she beat Vindman, who was very popular and very corporate, very, well, you know what he is. If you don't know, then I can't really get too far into it, but let's just say that we found out some things about him. I think I did a literally 360 degrees on my support of him, and she beat him, and he had millions of dollars. And now this is for the primary, for the Democratic primary in Florida, one of them. And now he's supporting her. He's like, oh, I'll give you some of my money. And I don't really trust that. But anyway, let's talk about Angie Nixon, because if you really want to get fired up, if you really want to hear somebody say the things that you want Democrats to say, go find her on social media, go Google her name. A lot of things will just come up and you can just watch her because she is really the real deal. This woman is the real deal. Okay. And, this is the thing they're going to tell you. So forewarned is forearmed, right? As we go into the midterms now, they're going to tell you these people are not electable, right? Angie Nixon is not electable because she's a woman, she's a Black woman, and she speaks truth, and she's not afraid to call people out, but she is electable. She was elected by a very strong group of people, you know what I mean? Like, she overcame the popular Democrat. That's just huge. So yes, I think she is electable in Florida. And I think that she is just the most outspoken, fiery, brilliant candidate that I've seen in a long time. I mean, she's truly going to lead us into this next era of what we're looking for in a candidate. And I think that also, Simi, it could be that that if it says streaming, that it's on your end. Look, it could. I'm talking about Angie Nixon. She ran her primary for a district in Florida and beat a very popular Democrat. So I think she can win. Now, of course, Florida and Texas are rigged, right? A lot of states are rigged. They rig them in every possible way. But I don't even care about it because I feel like she's pumping like energy into our veins. Like, I don't know, like she's giving us this gift of truth and energy. I'm just super pumped up about it. So yeah, she's much like another Jasmine Crockett, but I think she's even, well, I don't know if she's more fiery, maybe by a smidge. She's definitely fiery. And because she's been on, she's been running for office, she's been on, all the media platforms, and they keep trying to do those gotchas. Like, do you support this person? Do you support Hassan Piker? And she's like, I don't even know the dude. Like, I don't even know him. I don't watch his stuff. I don't know him. And they tried to say that she was supporting him and he was supporting her. She's like, I don't even know him. And they were like, really? She's like, yeah. Is he a Floridian? Like, I just love her. I love her. She kind of gave me like some of my faith back. So that's totally cool. She's on MS Now tonight. Well, if you guys can tune in, and you can always watch snippets tomorrow. But yeah, she's just amazing. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, she uses a bullhorn, and y'all, it was pink. It matched her outfit. I just love so many things about her, and she's so like for the people, right? She's really, really for the people. So that's super awesome. Um, Freda, I don't know if Tallarico can win. He should be able to win, but I'm telling you, Texas is so dark right now, and Paxton, this guy has like 5 federal indictments against him. Um, he's not been arrested. He's never, had to face those real charges. So he should win. He could win, but all I can say is he might win. I think he might win. I think there's a chance, but it's just so rigged. Texas is particularly rigged. So I can't say, especially right now, it's a little far out. Let's just see how he continues to do with his messaging, and let's see how Texans do with what's coming, right? With the gas prices being high, you can't eat. I mean, what can we eat now? I mean, honestly, from granola to eggs to blueberries to lettuce, I mean, I think this is really going to start affecting those people that don't vote, and they're going to start wanting to know, okay, how do I make this pain stop? And they're going to start paying attention. But that has to happen between now and November, right? And I think it will. I think it'll happen around October, honestly. So we'll know a lot more about the activization of those voters a little bit further into this. Because right now, the thing that makes America, this is what the guides always say, right? The thing that makes humans, really, not Americans, but humans, so survival oriented is we're resilient, right? We can put up with a lot before we crack. And that's not to our advantage, right? Like in France, they don't put up with a lot. They go to the streets, they walk out of their jobs, they shut the city down. But here we don't have that. We're a much bigger country. It's more complicated here. And we're resilient. And so what's happening right now is people are saying, well, I'll cut back, or I'll live on credit cards, or, it's going to get better. But see, by October, it's not really going to get better. And then people are going to be like, okay, that's it. We're so mad. We're going to go to the polls. And that's going to exacerbate the things that are happening, because in red states, the polls are going to be reduced in number. They're going to be reduced in or increased distances. They're going to make it very hard to vote. And then people are going to get super mad, which is going to kick off probably a lot of protests. Yeah, I know he should win. Look, everybody, Harris won. Kamala Harris won. Okay, I get it. But here's where we are. Yeah, if he loses, it would be very close. Right, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Thank you guys so much. Katie, you want to know if Katie Hobbs will win? I'm hearing yes. Now, again, if I had all the right answers, I would have my own planet myself, right? Like I would have an island made of chocolate with some cheese on the side, whatever. So I don't have all the answers, but I'm hearing right now, it just looks so good for her. Energetically, I'm seeing blue. I don't know why they want to specifically say it's royal blue. Why are they being so picky about the color, right? Let's just go with blue. But yeah, maybe royal blue, everything means something, and I'm just giving them and everybody a hard time. Royal blue means something, so I don't know what that means, but specifically if they say something, it really does matter, because they don't waste energy. Ms. Wood said, is it possible that Cindy Munson could win governor of Oklahoma? This is a timing problem I just talked about, right? Like we have until November. This kind of train of pain is not going to stop in November. So if the election was in January, yes, she would win. Does that make sense? Like if we had more time to experience the bad things that are happening, people would be more motivated. Could she win governor of Oklahoma? The guy said yes. She could win. That you use could. She could win. I feel like that would be an upset, but I think there's going to be a lot of upsets. I think the writing's on the wall. We keep winning. We keep winning all these special elections, and specifically even more liberal Democrats like Angie Nixon are winning elections. Okay, thank you for that. Royal blue. Thank you, Ray. Royal blue has a tinge of indigo in it. Indigo is a spirit color. Okay. And does that also mean that it's a little bit more purpley blue, that it means that the state is not blue, but it's going blue, right? Mostly blue, maybe. My God, you guys, did you hear what Byron Donalds, I clicked the wrong thing, sorry. What Byron Donalds said? He said, listen, I didn't see this come out of his mouth because frankly, I couldn't watch the video. Sometimes I just can't watch the video. It's there and I read it, but I can't watch it. He said, Black people would be better off if we had Jim Crow. Now, I don't know if y'all been following me for a while, but I've been saying this is what they want. They want us to go back to sharecropping. They want us to go back to redlining. They want us to go back to controlling people, Jim Crow era, absolutely. Byron Donalds is a complete failure as a human being. That's what I would say. Jesus. These people are just, it reminds me, the guides keep saying Clarence Thomas when he said he would like to own a slave. I mean, the indoctrination of the white mind in these people is complete. Like they have bought the Kool-Aid manufacturing plant. Oh, the Ben Show, you're new. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I just take your political questions and I give you my energetic and my spirit guides take on them. Jim Crow, you don't know what Jim Crow is. So I would suggest just opening another browser and Googling Jim Crow. It's horrible. Jim Crow was horrible. I mean, it was segregation. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, it was after the Civil War, like we didn't learn anything from the Civil War, and we just allowed the South to do its own thing, which was racism and segregation and horrible murders and inhumanity, and like the Republicans do. That's just what they do. Man, I wish. So your question, Italian Proud says, when is the orange dude gonna take his dirt nap? And there is something going on right now. Natalie, whatever is her name, Harp, whatever she is, his personal assistant, who always carried that diaper bag that was as big as like 25, diaper bags all put together. Because I guess when you need big diapers, y'all, they take a lot of space. So anyway, she has been, because it became public only, that she was around the president too much time and she didn't have the proper security clearance. Okay. Then the White House said, oh, we'll fix that. Give us 24 hours. We'll let her take a break for 24 hours. Then we'll bring her back. But what happened was, because this broke out into the media and the media finally woke up and did something for once, it got too much media coverage, and that is against the law. And they normally don't care about the law either. Like, this is the bright spots. You have media covering some things, you have laws being respected. These are bright spots. So the word on the street is that Natalie is not going to be allowed to come back for a significant amount of time. Now, will they follow the law? Probably not. But what's interesting to me is two things. First of all, 45 lost his mind over that. He actually got really upset that they took his Natalie away. So we struck a wound. We struck something there. Number two, Melania came in out of wherever the hell, hole she's been living in. She came in to the White House. Okay, this is important because Melania is his handler. She is not his wife. She is his handler. She was assigned to him. And I've always seen her being a potential person, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, that would be around when he exited, because she's his handler. So when she shows up and actually gets involved in his life, that's a really big change. Think about it yourself. When has she gotten involved and when? She doesn't live with him. Very rarely does she ever show up to do anything. But now all of a sudden she's there. Natalie's gone and she's there. Now, if you think she's changing a diaper, you might need to like take some time off because your brain is cooked. She's not changing no diaper. She doesn't even touch him. She doesn't even let him hold her hand. But she's there. Okay, so that's important. Okay, it could be that he's right. So she's his handler, and he can't really say he can't really say things, right? Like he has to stay to the script. He has to kind of stay in the kind of in the ballpark of what they want him to say. And without Natalie there, he might have been melting down and getting ready to do something that everybody would regret. So I just think she was holding his hand. Then if she's holding his hand, then he's on his deathbed, because I'm telling you, I will never forget when that video he was trying to reach her hand and she was slapping it away. Look, no, she doesn't. She despises him. That's exactly right, Tina Marie. That's exactly right. She despises him. So I think something could happen. But I will also say that, okay, right. So the guides are saying, look, this eclipse, I don't know if y'all are experiencing the energy. The energy is crazy. The energy is absolutely crazy. Crazy. People are fighting. They don't even not supposed to be fighting. They're fighting. Everybody's fighting. I don't know what's going on. It's the eclipse. So this eclipse could do him in. But I've always gotten recently that if he goes, it is not natural. It is a, it's a forced exit. Okay. And Melania being there, forced exit. Okay. This could be not necessarily written in stone, but it's like, let's say she's got 3 outcomes for her visit. This could be one of those outcomes. I wouldn't be surprised, because people they need to exit out of this. The thing is going off the cliff. When you see people like Angie Nixon when you see this uptick in all these liberal Democrats winning, the writing is on the wall. You see Target sales crashing and burning. You see Tesla crashing and burning. Don't think this is lost on the robber barons. They can see it. They're watching the whole, think about a dashboard with all the global inputs, what's going up, what's going down, and what candidates are winning and which ones are losing. They know the writing's on the wall, and they need to be able to pull out before it crashes and burns. And this would give them an option to do that, because in that, the guides used to talk about the, what do you call that? The, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, in that chaos that would happen in that sudden departure, and even if it were, because they're never going to miss an opportunity. Think about things that have happened, like Butler and all the things they're never going to miss an opportunity to blame somebody or to divert the attention. So they would create some kind of thing to make him a martyr. Theoretically, that would be their plan. It didn't work with Kirk, but they can always, they don't really care as long as they get a distraction long enough to extract. Think about the smoke bomb that allows the military to leave under the cover of the smoke. This is what I'm talking about. So he had a lot of twitches today. Yeah. I don't think that Natalie just did his diaper. I think she did other, like gave him certain medications. Also, just her presence calmed him down and made him more manageable. So this is a big deal, and this was not planned. This was a real shot across the bow, a real problem for him. Oh God. Bridget is talking about Todd Blanche. Is the director Todd Blanche's side going to stand up as absolute? It's intended to absolve 45 and his family, his associates, his businesses from anything for all time. It is not going to stand up. It is not going to stand up because they're going to be tried for crimes against humanity, is what the guides just said. So even though we do not participate in The Hague, thank you, G.W. Bush, I think, even though we don't participate in those world courts, we're going to have our own treason. These people are not going to get away with it. Now, 45 gets away with it from the sense that either he's taken a dirt nap or he's blah, 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 speaking gibberish and like out of, he's in a rubber room. So he doesn't get the full force of the justice. But I've always seen his family getting, I've always seen Ivanka going to prison. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's a real possibility there. I've also seen all of the ICE people getting hunted down like Nazis. Now, this isn't going to happen next year. It might take a little time. Think about it. It took like 2 years to go after Jan 6. But no, he can write the directive all he wants. We still have a thing called the Constitution. We still have RICO laws. We have the laws. We don't have a Supreme Court. We don't have a DOJ. And a lot of the federal courts are not willing to stand up. But after 45 is gone, what the guides always say is when your bookie is gone, you don't have to pay your debts anymore, right? So, meaning he's got the dirt on everybody. Once he's gone, all of a sudden I can act like a normal human being again, and I can be a federal circuit judge, or you're already seeing those people rebranding. Remember how the guide said these people are going to turn and rebrand. You see Tucker Carlson doing it. You saw MGT doing it. You saw a lot of people rebranding themselves. So those people will go after the people who stayed behind, because they need to differentiate themselves. They need to prove I'm a good person. I'm going after these bad people, like Liz Cheney basically did, right? How will Natalie handle this forced exile? Y'all, they pick on these people that just don't have, you know what I mean? They're vulnerable. They're at risk. I I feel. I mean, I kind of feel bad for her because she is got that syndrome, right? That syndrome where she's in love with her captor. She's in love with the whole situation. So I don't think she's going to handle it well. I don't think she's going to handle it well. It's very sick. I mean, like in a mental illness sort of way, the psychosis between them. Yeah, she doesn't have the mental fortitude, but she doesn't have. I mean, fortitude is like a very nice thing. There's no fortitude. She just doesn't have any mental, period. Will she talk? No, I don't think she will talk. Okay, look, you guys, I don't know this. This is what the guides are saying. But didn't Charles Manson have some women that did things for him? And didn't some of them go to prison and never talked? I don't know. That's what they're telling me. I never saw a documentary, never read a book. I don't know anything. This is what the guides are saying. If that is correct, then she will be like that. She will be one of those people that, just carries the water for him. Yes. Okay. So you can understand it from that. Well, maybe you're never going to understand it, but at least we have experience, right? With people that have been so entranced by these people that they'll do crimes and then they'll do the time, as well. I don't think she's going to accept blame. I mean, this is what I'm saying. She believes she's in the right. This woman believes that she's in the right, and we're all in the wrong. I mean, literally, she has a psychosis. The guides are saying she's in a cult. Oh no, Melania is not a Natalie. Melania is an operator, is an operative, is a spy, is a person capable of not capable. I think Natalie would be capable of doing somebody harm to protect her dude, but Melania would do it for the fun of it or for some money, I mean, like that. There's a difference between them. Melania is much more dangerous. The real question, the guide said, this is really the real question: who's more evil, Melania or Erika with 3 Ks, Kirk? Who's more evil between those two? Let me know in the comments, because I don't know. I honestly think maybe Erika with 3 Ks is more evil, for real. Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, that's it. Melania is a red sparrow. Absolutely, 100%. You think Melania is more evil? Erika. I mean, Melania, I just look in Erika's eyes. I'm telling you, I don't know if I've ever seen anything more evil than that. She's really, really bad. But they're neck and neck. And then you add in Ghislaine, you add in those 3 women. Woo! They're real. She has resting assassin face. That is such a good description. I could not describe that, but that is really the perfect description. I can't find your comment to. I know Melania hates Christmas. I know. Melania is she is evil. But resting assassin face is perfect. And she is kind of dumb. I think you're right about that. And I think that Erika is much more of a plotter planner, and Melania is give me my assignment and I will do it. Right. So she's more of like a foot soldier kind of person. Whereas Erika is more of the evil creator of it. Tie, yes. Unholy trinity of evil for sure. Those 3 are really, really, really scary. Yeah. So you're asking about Barron. What is Barron Trump's future like? So first of all, we have to talk about the biggest part of why he freaks me out. He has this energy around him to be a leader. He has this energy around him to be a dictator. He has this energy around him to be a cult leader. And I think that he makes 45 look like child's play. I think he makes his mom look like child's play. I think he's truly one of the could be one of those historic psychopaths, sociopaths, authoritarian, like Pol Pot. The guides just said Pol Pot. Again, I don't know any of this. I'm just telling you what they're telling me. Our best option is that he leaves the United States, which I always saw him leaving the United States. Melania wants him to leave the United States. He does not want to leave the United States. He understands that even at right now, one of our lowest points, we're still something valuable that he wants to capture. He wants to be able to control. He has a lot of Hitler energy in him. However, give this guy give us 5 years, and people like him and Elon are going to be persona non grata. They're not going to be they're not going to be allowed to be here without being dogged and disrespected. You know what I mean? You're not going to have a nice life here. You're not even going to have a regular life here. So I think he will leave, and I think he will also do that because he'll want to go into another country that he can test his cult leader. He wants to test it on a smaller group of people where he can be relatively left alone. Now, the big question is, does he come back? Right? Because I feel like he could, but if we continue, and this is the super important thing, we have to continue to choose the light. We have to continue to resist becoming more fear-based and continue to choose love and light. And if we continue to do that, then he has no way he's ever coming back here. But there's a period of time where we don't know who the enemy is. And we start like, I've always said, free speech is going to get much less free. Everything is going to get less free because we don't know who the enemy is, because the enemy comes in through our freedoms, right? So we're going to have less freedoms in a way. And that could be okay if it's done well, if it's done with the right open heart, with the right attitude. But we have to, the attitude is, okay, we're going to crack down on some free speech, but we're also going to honor free speech, right? We're going to honor the fact that we get to say anything we want against the president, even if it's a Democrat. We're going to honor free speech, but we're going to try to parse this kind of cult speech or hate speech, right? We're going to try to crack down on the right things and let the good things go. But that's our task. How are we going to be able to parse that? So if we can parse it and we can understand what part is something we don't want in this society, then we're good. Then we're doing the right thing. It's just going to be a matter of really working through those things. And it's going to take a lot of conversations with us. AI is going to take a lot of conversations. I have an online community where we do post every day that we have these conversations about. When I posted, because I've seen this, right? I've talked to you guys about Neuralink. I've talked about how I see these chips being implanted in the military because they do anything to the military. You sign your life over, they give you shots, they don't even tell you what they are. You just have to say yes. You don't really have a choice. So we had this whole conversation, which was so enlightening because, my point was, okay, you can have a chip implanted that could potentially allow your nonverbal child to be able to communicate with you. Or you could have a chip planted that helps your heart beat. Or you could have a chip planted that keeps you from having seizures. But we have to steward this technology and say, yes, with these guardrails and all of these boundaries and laws and regulations, yes, this AI technology can make us live longer, can give us better lives. But we have to make sure that those same companies are not doing things to us or using our brains to, like for research to figure out how, you know what I mean? Like they're using AI now to read books and to learn about us. So having these conversations is really important because through this process, we were all able to share and really talk about how we would use this technology. This is what I'm saying. We need to be able to have these conversations where, when you're online, the trolls show up and then you can't have the conversation because you've got these trolls inciting and causing problems. And that's why I love my online community, because there's no trolls. And we can all be honest with each other, support each other. But this is the kind of thing we need to do going forward, is really have these conversations. It'll truly help us tremendously. Wait, I don't think Barron is the Antichrist, but the guides are saying he has Antichrist tendencies or Antichrist qualities. But no, that's what they're telling me. Take it, leave it, call 1-800-SPIRIT Guides, press 9 for complaints. There is no one Antichrist. There's lots of them. They don't have a little piece. Isn't that nice? K-Turn Dog says, have they completely depleted our Treasury gold supply? The guides are saying not completely. Not completely, but it is, there will be missing money, funds, bars, everything. There will be missing funds. Unaccounted. We're never going to account for them. You know how the military, the Defense Department, the budget, they can never account for money. CIA can never account for money. We've gotten too used to this, right? But the guides have said they're spending our money, they're depleting our stores of money, our everything. The guides are saying they're robbing us blind right now. I don't think that they've depleted everything, but significant, the guides are saying. It will be significant. The other thing is, you're probably not going to hear that, right? Because if you told all of America that we had no money, people would freak out, like, and then they would stop working. See, the robber barons don't want us to ever stop working. They don't want us to freak out so bad that we just walk into the street. And this is honestly why they keep ET information away from us, because if we knew all this stuff that was happening, we would be offline. We would just be like completely shocked. And so they can't tell us that. It's the same thing I used to tell you guys about the election. They can't tell you that the election was stolen, because if it was, then, or the money is gone. Because if they tell you that, then you're going to be like, well, screw it. Why am I going to work? Why am I paying taxes? You're going to opt out of the system, and they need us to be in the system. So that's why they control the media. They control what we're told so that we stay scared, we stay panicked, because we want to keep our job, we want to keep our health insurance, but we don't go so far over the edge that we give up on the system. Because once we give up on the system, we give up on them. Then we're not useful. We're not their little productivity numbers, I guess. I think it's going to be sooner. Kathy says 5 years from now, Tesla cars are done. I think it's going to be sooner. I'm starting to see more and more people trade them in. And there's more options now. There's Hyundai has one, Rivian has one, Subaru. A lot of people have electric cars now. Let's talk about cars for a second, because the guides brought this back around again. I'm just going to remind you that I keep getting that the auto industry is going to be under extreme stress starting. They're probably under extreme stress right now, but again, we're resilient, so we're trying to make it work. But I'm telling you, it's going to get to a place where it doesn't work. So if you work in the auto industry, or if your business or your company has anything to do with the auto industry, you really need to be prepared, because I see the Chinese cars coming into the United States, and they're going to be cheaper. They're going to be a lot better. Not maybe as far as like safety goes, because they don't meet our codes, but they're going to have things that we never thought we could have as far as technology goes. It's going to be pretty hard on the auto industry. And again, it's meant to disrupt. All of these things are meant to disrupt and damage our country, not to make it better, but to just to make Americans feel lucky they have a job, even if it's minimum wage. That's what they're trying to break us. They're trying to break our spirit so that we'll do anything. We'll take any job. But you watch me, so you know that we're going to go through a tough time, but there's ways to make money. I said this a while back. I'll say it again. Rich people have got money. They've got more money than ever. More money than ever. Go get their money. Go teach their kids how to plant seeds. Their kids don't know anything, y'all. They didn't grow up like us. Literally, I'm not kidding you. The guides are saying you could go reach out to a rich person and say, hey, why don't your kids come to summer camp at my house and learn how to be poor? I swear to God. I'm not joking with you. It's, rich people go to other countries to experience different things. Believe me when I say they will hire you to teach their kids to paint, to teach their kids how to wash a car, how to do manual labor. I'm not joking here. We have to start making money any way we can make the money. Who's got the money? Rich people. Find something they want and get that money from them. You got an interest in aquariums? Teach their kids how to build an aquarium over the summer. Charge them thousands of dollars. Like, thousands of dollars. We have to be survivalist. We're not going to be the ones that's caught unaware because you guys watch us psychics and you know what's coming. We are the forewarned is forearmed. We're not going to be victims of this. We're going to be survivors of this. All right. Cindy P, how you doing? Thank you for being a moderator. Thank you to all my moderators. I appreciate you. Will Muskrat pay the piper for the 2026 deal? He's going to pay. He's going to have justice. I wish I could say that I see justice for that steal coming soon, but I don't really see it coming soon. I think that, look, the guides are saying, you know how you get to this guy is through his money and then through his image. So his money first, his image second. If he lost control of SpaceX and the government, the United States government, took it back, eminent domain, and put it back under NASA and said, yeah, we had enough of this corporate stuff. We're going to have to do this the way we used to do it, right? Where we have government employees that work for the government. It didn't work. We tried it. If we took SpaceX from him, if the Tesla stocks, look, I'm telling you that when the Chinese cars get here, he's gone. He's gone. So he's going to get his justice. He's going to get literally ruined. And then that's going to make his ego crash and burn. And so he's going to get his justice. I just don't know how. I mean, I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see us really accepting the fact that it was stolen on that level in the next year, maybe in the next 2 years, maybe in the next 3 years. But I think these other things will catch up to him faster. Let's put it that way. Yeah, meme Vicky, there is free speech and then there's free speech, and that's what we have to figure out. We have to figure out, am I doing free speech? The things that I'm saying, would that be considered free speech in 2027 or 2028? I don't know. The guides have always told me no. Look, that's why I started my second YouTube channel. If you guys don't know, I have a whole nother YouTube channel called Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower, because they said, girl, this political channel is not, we don't know. Right. And that's why they also told me to start my online community, because they said, again, this political channel, can't guarantee it. So this is why I did this, right? Like, I might have to move to another platform, but I think that's going to also just be a natural thing. We're all going to be moving around and finding new platforms and finding new ways to connect with each other. They're not going to keep us down, but we may have to just, look, Twitter was really cool before Elon got it. And then we all, moved around. We're resilient. We're going to keep figuring it out. Yeah, if you guys are here, please hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Hit the like button. That'd be super awesome as well. You can scan that QR code, and that will take you to my website where you can find out about my online community. You can find out about my soul, learn about your soul path class, which is only $22 on my website, which was super popular. I had 400 people go to that class. So if you're interested in figure out how to figure out what your soul path is, $22, you can find it on my website. You can find out about my newsletter on my website that's free, that comes out today, came out on Friday. So yeah, SusanLynnMedium.com. That's where you can find that out. Wales just made it. Let's see what this Ray says. Wales just made it illegal for politicians holding active office to lie. If they do, they leave their office and can't run again. This is what I'm talking about. Thank God for Wales having some sense of, normalcy and decency and ethics. But I think a lot of these countries are looking at the United States and going, holy shit, right? Like, we have to make sure that we don't turn into them. So I love that. I'm happy to see it. This is also Cindy P. How about the mRNA vaccine? Could it cure cancer? MAGA won't want it. Oh, they'll want it if it cures cancer, I'll tell you. These people are going to get, not all of them, right? There's going to be 20% that just too far gone. The Natalie Harps of the world, they're just too far gone. They're way too far gone. And they might not survive this land of you can't eat lettuce and you can't eat blueberries, and ivermectin is not going to stop cyclospora. So however, your question about the mRNA vaccine is huge. This is the guides are calling this a game changer. It's going to save so many lives, and it's going to be it's easy to manufacture, they're saying. It can be manufactured quickly and at scale. It's just a matter of us, of the United States, allowing that kind of vaccine, because think about it. I hate to say it, but it's going to upset a whole industry, right? A whole industry of, you got to have chemotherapy, you got to have radiation therapy. This is the technology that I was talking about in my community, because technology is going, great leaps in technology is what we're going to experience. Great leaps. But will your country allow you to have that great leap, right? So I think there's going to be some fighting about that in the United States. Meanwhile, let me also suggest that if you are not from the United States, and please post on our social media and tell us, because we don't know, right? A lot of us don't know, or maybe they don't even believe that your health care is part of your taxes, and that your taxes are not so bad that you can't afford to eat. You know what I mean? So if other countries start getting this vaccine, please tell people, right? Like, please tell us, because the media is not telling us. But yes, I do think it could cure cancer. I don't know that it's going to cure all cancers, but it's going to change everything. And it could change everything in as soon as even 6 months to 8 months. Yeah, that's true, Pam. Melania does remind you of Boris and Natasha in the Rocky and Bullwinkle. She really does. And that time she dressed up as the Hamburglar from McDonald's, the Hamburglar, that whole outfit was from the Hamburglar. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I think there are good people on the inside. Yeah, wear this. It looks really good on you, because this is the only way they can fight back, is, doing these things. Uh-oh. Angel's Whisper says, what do I see about Erika with 3Ks? Kirk, she feels like she's scheming. So she's absolutely scheming something, because she allegedly did not get the payoff that she was supposed to get with the thing that happened to her husband. So though a lot of those kids, those young people, they were supposed to go into they were supposed to stay in TPUSA. And instead they kind of went over into even worse places, like Nick Fuentes' place. So she is feeling irrelevant. She doesn't feel special, and she needs to feel special. So what I see her doing, because she knows that she doesn't do great in front of the camera. She's behind the scenes trying to get, you're right. She is doing something behind the scenes to gain support, to create a group that she will have dominance over, but will be, not necessarily publicly linked to her to do the things that she wants to do, which has a lot to do with racism and a lot to do with the things that you see happening, like Miller. I immediately went to Stephen Miller. She could be working with Stephen Miller. They're saying she is working with Stephen Miller. Lynn wants to know, will any of the deportees get to come back? They will, but several, I don't even know what to say, except for several of the deportees are actually citizens. And what's happening is it's a grift, right? So they just keep them for 3 months or 4 months and charge the government, God only knows how much money. God only knows. Then they throw them back, right? So that part's the grift. The other deportees, are lucky. I hate to, but they're actually lucky if they get sent to a country, and I mean any country. As horrible as that is, as horrible as that sounds, and as unlawful and uncivil and inhumane as that is, it's better than what's happening to the ones that are in there, which I believe they're using as they're practicing eugenics on them. So if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. I think it's EUGENICS, and that's right up Nazi Millerville. That's what they do. They're doing experiments on them. Okay. Also, they're trafficking them. So I don't see it, right? Like, so the guide said two things at once. They reminded me of his first reign of terror and those kids in the cages. Remember how many disappeared? And remember how Biden did just tried hard to find them and bring them back? We don't really even know how many never came back. And the second thing is when Russia took over, now Russia had annexed parts of Ukraine already. Okay, so Russia had sort of like a fake control over parts of Ukraine already before the war. And right about the time of the war, from those annexed places, which were really Ukraine, but Russia had like checkpoints where you had to show your papers to get in and out. They disappeared a bunch of those kids. They sent those kids to Russia to become indentured servants, to work on farms in Siberia. We know this because a few of those kids somehow hitchhiked and walked all the way back, even made it through the front lines back to Ukraine to tell their story. So my point is that there are kids missing. There are people missing. And I don't think we're ever really going to get them back. I don't think so. I think there's going to be, I think I've said this before, there's going to be monuments directed to them, made for them. Some will come back, but the majority, I don't think will come back. I hate to say it. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm really happy to be. Some will come back. I just don't think enough will come back. We don't even know who's missing. You know, who's keeping track? Even when he had the kids in the cages, they weren't keeping track. Remember? This is so Sheila is saying other countries have laws in place that if a person suggests someone needs to meet some demise, that those public mouthpieces are held to some account. This is what I'm talking about. We have to get a grip on this. Right now, there's no DEI, there's no hate crimes being covered. And I need to say it again, Black people are being found, hanged, and they do not do this. Black people do not do this to themselves. We need to understand this. It's rampant. It's happening all the time because there's no accountability. The media is not holding anybody to account. The DOJ is not holding anybody to account. And if you're a Black person, you really need to take this seriously. They found a woman who was visiting, I think, a family member in Vegas, I think, a Black woman, and she disappeared. She went to the grocery store, the 7-Eleven or something, disappeared, and they just found her body. Okay. We all have to be aware of what's happening. If you're LGBTQ, if you're trans, if you're Black, if you're brown, if you're Asian, you have to take this seriously. This is serious, you guys. This is very serious. And if you're a white person, we have to use our privilege. We have privilege. We need to use it to protect people. We need to use it to get the word out about this. If a Black person shares something on social media, your role is to just pass it along, not to comment on it, but just keep it out there. Keep passing this stuff along, forward it, repost it. Super important. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. They are, Lady G, they are trying to shut down the van culture. They've been doing this slowly for a while, but they 100% are trying to shut down. It's also the homeless people, right? They're trying to shut down all of those things. Also, I want to ask you guys a question because it occurred to me the other day. Why isn't ICE going and rounding up all the homeless people. Why are they not doing that? Because they're not. They're not. They're grabbing somebody out of their car in the middle of the gas station. They're grabbing somebody out of their car in the middle of the road, leaving their dog, their child in the back seat, leaving their car running. But no, all these homeless people, they don't want them. Why not? Why don't they? Think about it. Because here's the thing. They're trying to disrupt the economy of migrant people. They're trying to disrupt the economy of people that are immigrants. They're trying to disrupt the economy of Black people. Because every time Black people get any kind of anything, the first thing they do is go and take that money. If you don't believe me, please look it up. Our own country has bombed entire Black communities. Bombed. Okay. So what's happened is, if the immigrant community starts doing well, they're making money, they're buying a house, they're buying a car. No, that's not going to work. We can't have that. So they start cracking down on these economies, these people. And I'm not saying these people have a lot of money. They have very little money, but they don't want them to have any money. Okay? They don't want them to have any money. Go back to what I said earlier about how Byron, whatever his name is, said, I want to go back to Jim Crow. That's sharecropping. You don't get money. You get a house, and that house is owned by the company. The doctor's appointment owned by the company. The store, the grocery store owned by the company. Company towns. The guides have been saying this for years, that this is what they wanted to do. They want to control all the money. They don't want us to have vacations like the 1950s or 60s, or have a one income house that can manage the whole house. They want us working 2 or 3 jobs. They want to have the bank. They want to be the bank. They want to own everything that you have. It's sick, but that's what this whole process is. But as I said, listen, there are good things happening. There are so many bright spots happening. Earlier, I talked about Angie Nixon winning against Vindman in Florida. Look, she is a rabble rouser. She's good trouble. She is for the people. And she beat the Democratic super multi-millions funded guy, white dude. Well, basically a white dude. So there's starting to be changes, okay? But right now we just need to really pay attention to things and keep our head above water. Right. T-Barb is saying that guy going around showing how Walmart is ripping people off has made a difference. I don't know if you're talking about the guy who picks up the bag of whatever, it says 1 pound, and he goes and weighs it, and it's like 3/4 of a pound. So it's like truth in advertising. It's not there, right? And now Walmart is going to surge pricing, where there's no prices on anything, but you'll pay the highest price that they think you'll pay. So, if it's 3:30 in the afternoon and kids are out of school and you got to hurry up and get home, then it's going to be high prices, right? So these are all things that we can fix. We can fix these things pretty quickly. We just need to get to the midterms. We need to vote. We need to all get out and work really hard to educate people and let people know what's happening. And we need to totally be way too big to rig. Right. She had very little money. Nixon had very little money, less than $1 million. And he had millions of dollars. So they call it dynamic pricing. Yeah, I'm surge pricing, dynamic pricing. Right. Right. And here's another thing. Doris is saying immigrants add 1 trillion to our economy. This is what they think is going to happen. First of all, the robber barons don't mind losing money. when you have trillions of dollars yourself, you have billions of dollars. It doesn't, you know what I mean? You're like, I'll wait them out, right? I'll starve them out because I can last longer than they can. Secondly, they want to bring in their own immigrants. They want to bring in people under these visas so that if you're working for this company and you get sick, well, they just deport you. You have no rights. It really is Jim Crow. It really is indentured servitude, okay? You have to work 60, 80 hours a week because they'll just deport you. They can deport you for any reasons. There's a difference if the people are here temporarily than if they're here and they have families and they're doing well and they're, you know what I mean? They don't want that. They don't want you to put roots down here. They don't want you to have power. So this is why they're doing what they're doing. This is why they're willing to give up $1 trillion of economy. But what they didn't count on was the rest of us saying, no, we don't want this. And there's just enough of the fact that our country is big and unmanageable and unruly that they can't do it. They just can't do it. They can't do what they want to do. So they're going to break us as much as they can, and then they're going to give it to the Democrats, who's going to try to fix it. And this pattern repeats, right? You've seen it many times. But this is a really big one. This is the biggest break that they've ever done to us, for sure. Right, Sharon says that's what Coke is doing with their 2-liter bottles. Look, even a 2x4 board, 2 inches by 4 inches, is not 2 by 4 inches anymore. But the difference is that some of these things in the past, they would keep the size of the bottle or the package the same, but change the ounces. But now they're not even changing the ounces. They're flat out telling you, yeah, it's 48 ounces, but you know you're only getting 36. That's truth in advertising. That's against the law. And I think all of these corporations are going to pay mightily for this. They're gonna get some pretty big fines and regulations, but we have to get back in charge of Congress first. Surge pricing should be illegal. Third Eye Open. I think it is illegal. I mean, I think it's price gouging actually, but right now we don't have a way to hold them accountable because the DOJ is missing in action. A lot of the federal judges are bought and paid for. They just look what happened to the guides just showed me. Look what happened to Taylor Farms allegedly. Taylor Farms is allegedly the source of the Cyclospora. And Cyclospora doesn't come from workers urinating on the crops. It comes from the water that's actually irrigating the crops. The water itself was contaminated, okay? So Taylor Farms was going down the drain, and they just visited 45 at the White House, and all of a sudden everything's fine. Taylor Farms is not reliable. They're not accountable. Now Taylor Farms is the main corporation, but they supply lettuce to Whole Foods. They supply lettuce to called organic. They supply lettuce to like 10 different companies, which is a monopoly. So one source is making us sick over all these different categories. And it's still out there because I know somebody who just got Cyclospora a few days ago. It's still out there, you guys. So, we just have to be very careful right now. And also keep pounding on your electeds. Keep pounding on them. Even if they're Democrats, pound on them. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't let them off the hook. Keep reminding. I don't know if you can hear my dog, but he's barking. And something interesting too about that is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but Costco has not taken down their products or even put a sign up. And Costco's on our team, right? So we need these corporations to do better. We need them to do better. They should have just removed all the stuff. Like I think Taco Bell removed that whole vendor from their, so, it can happen. We need to hold them accountable. Right. This is a really good point too. Immigrants also pay into Social Security. They don't even collect it. They don't even collect it, but they're paying into it. It, yeah. There's not going to be a reason that makes sense here other than it's meant to harm. You really have to just go back to how Black people were treated after Civil War. I want you to just go back and look at history and read about it, because that's what's happening right now. They're just doing it to Black people. They're doing it to Hispanic people, brown people, Asian people, LGBTQ, trans women, all the people. Yeah, I mean, it's nice that Vindman is doing that. I'm glad he's doing that. Look, this is the problem. This is the problem, because Vindman said, I don't think that Palestine is having any problems. I don't think there's been a real genocide there. Okay, so that man said that publicly, and I think that's bullshit. Okay, so I don't like him. Now, he's donating his money to Nixon. Okay, that doesn't make him, in my opinion, that doesn't make him a saint. Okay, that I don't. Okay, great. I'm glad you're doing that, but why is he doing it? You know, we have to just be able to understand that there's going to be people who do good things and bad things, and we're just going to have to figure out how we feel about that. Okay, I think he's doing it to fix his name, so that he can run again in 28. That's what I think. I think he's trying to make his people that like him feel better about him, so that they can say, oh, he's a good guy, he did this, he did that one thing. What else did he do? What else did he do? Because it's all important. Okay, it's all important. On that note, what do I see happening with Miller? Stephen Miller is God darn it, I mean, he might escape. He's like I don't even want to vilify any animal. I can't even think of an animal I hate so bad. But he's bad. He's slippery. This is what I said earlier, right? They want to create this distraction, this smokescreen, so that they can get out. Because when 45 goes down, let's say Vance jumps in, but that is when the wheels fall off the bus. Because when 45 goes down, all the people that he had control over are now going to be free. They're going to be free to rewrite their own ticket, to rewrite again, like they're going to be saying, oh, well, I'm sorry I did that. I lost my mind, but now I'm against it. And I'm going to fight Vance. I'm going to fight this administration. You're going to see them do 360s. You're going to see them rebrand. Okay. But for that reason, if now you're not in power, like Miller might not be in power, he's going to have to flee. Because if those Republicans can get on a committee real quick and come up with some people to throw under the bus, they could possibly escape being thrown under the bus themselves. You see what I'm saying? So I think Miller's going to try to flee. It really depends on if we can pinpoint crimes to him. I just saw Jack Smith. I think Jack Smith does have evidence, testimony that would nail him, but he's not, I'm just telling you what I'm getting. I know it makes me mad too, but I don't think he's the biggest fish. I think they're going to go after other fish. I'm not saying they're going to let him off, but he may have a little bit of room to run for a minute before his number is called. He's going to flee somewhere. He's going to go Austria? I don't know. I can't figure out the name of the country that they're saying. Some of these people are going to try to hide behind the Heritage Foundation, or, whatever those other foundations are. They're going to try to go work in think tanks in those foundations and try to go underground. He might try to do that only because he doesn't believe that he's going to go to prison. He doesn't believe it. He believes he's untouchable, So that's something. I don't think we're going to give up on these people. I just think, give up on justice. I just think, how slow justice moves. We know how slow justice moves. The Haitians were keeping the entire Springfield, Ohio economy afloat. Absolutely, they were. But that's the point. They were eking out a living. They were starting to, maybe think about, I'm going to be able to send my kid to college. I'm going to be able to have a better life. That's what the Republicans want to stop. Because guess what? Those people were smarter than the average white dude. And the white dude couldn't get into college. And this is why we got rid of DEI, because they can't have anybody fighting with their little fragile white men. They can't. All these people are smarter. They work harder. They're smarter. They're just better. So guess what? We have to get rid of them. Like white men are going to do these jobs, right? They're not. Pocket Full of Stars wants to know what was the real reason Hayden Panettiere passed away. I got to just say that I feel, look, first of all, let's say this. She's okay. Okay. She's on the other side. She's okay. She's being healed. Her life was pretty effed up. It was really hard. It was terrible. A lot of it behind closed doors was very, very terrible. There's going to be a tell-all book that comes out about that maybe next year or 16 months from now, from the perspective of somebody that knew a lot, but wasn't one of the perpetrators. I feel like she was unalived by force, not by force, maybe by OD, but it was not. She didn't do it herself, and it wasn't a natural death. That's what I feel like. And I feel like allegedly, maybe the guy that she had the restraining order against, or there was a male influence involved. But also understand that on some level, her life was so unappealing that, not that she was ready to leave it, but now that she is no longer here, she's getting healing. I just feel so much healing in her heart. So I know it's horrible, but it's also a blessing in some way. I know it feels like this, Jasmine. We shouldn't have to educate any voter right now if they can't see and feel what's going on in this country and vote accordingly. They will reserve what they get for not voting. Well, that's one way to look at it. We'll get it too. That's the problem. We're going to get what they're going to get. So look, some of these people work 2 or 3 jobs. They're raising kids. They're not into politics. They've been told both sides suck. Nothing ever gives them a break. They didn't see the things that Biden did for them. They didn't, it didn't make, look, right. The guys just said, and I've seen this, the things that Biden did for them, Republicans stood in front of a microphone and said they did it. I'm not trying to cut them a bunch of slack, but I'm here to say they don't really know. They've been lied to. They're watching Fox News. They don't know. Or they're not watching politics. They don't know. So I'm just saying that, if somebody comes to you, you can explain it to them. But I also think that I know, as informed as I am, I'm still learning things that are surprising to me. So I don't know. I think it's worth helping people. Again, we understand MAGAs are beyond, we tried, right? We tried. I'm not talking about MAGAs. I'm talking about those other people who think voting is not for me, or I don't know how to do it, or I don't understand it. or it it doesn't matter. Those people are people that really could change things. And I think they're going to be activated and they're going to vote in droves. But who's going to activate them? Who's going to win the war on information? Who's going to convince them they're the right side? Historically, it's been Republicans because they know how to do the social media. They know how to do the cult, thing. And Democrats don't. So I know. I mean, I'm kind of glad the Mexican roofers are hiding. Every time I see somebody, I panic on their behalf, right? I honestly do. I'm like, my God, I hope you're okay. I hope you stay safe. I mean, it's hard. And we deserve this, right? We deserve what we have coming. All of that economy, that $1 trillion economy that was pumping into us, they were spending money buying cars, they were buying clothes, they were sending their kids to school, they were having parties, they were having cookout. They were part of our community, they were part of our community, an important part of our community. And now we've, proven to be, the aggressors against them, unfortunately. Let's see what's going on with Hawaii. Catherine, aloha. From the Big Island of Hawaii, we were hit hard for sure. In 155 years, Hawaii, 155 years, got their first huge hurricane. We're depending on community, as we know the Fed government is full of orange shish. Yes. Plus you're isolated. You can't get things. It's like Puerto Rico doesn't have drinking water right now. You both are very isolated, and it's not like you can get goods. Like, for instance, if this happened in the States here, we could drive a couple of hours and drop off supplies, but we can't do that for Hawaii. So please share with us if there are local, trustworthy sources that are helping you. Please share it with us. Share it online. Share it every day. Because again, I'm telling you, people don't know. You can actually post the same thing every single day. And every single day, somebody's going to say, I didn't know this was happening. So please post any kind of resources that you have that we could help. Please post them, because we don't even know what to do. First of all, posting here was really important. How many people knew this is the first hurricane in 155 years? Hawaii is really in bad shape, you guys. So yes, take really good care, Catherine. We're praying for you. We're rooting for you. Karen Ettinger, good to see you. Don't you think that the new energy we're heading into will prevent the pattern from repeating? If the energy is there, it's like, okay, so spirit dropped a tool in front of you, but if you don't use it, then you don't get the benefit of using that tool. So we do have new energy coming that is helpful, but we have to actually use our free will to to use it. So yeah, it's not guaranteed, unfortunately. Let me just check something, because yeah, okay, sorry. Whew. Somebody needs me to get up and answer the door because the neighbors are replacing the fence between us. But I've talked to these people 4 times today. They've interrupted me and they still have never done the work. And it's 6:22 my time. So I'm not going to be getting up and answering that door. I cannot answer the door, so you're going to have to just go away. Um, can we use AI to outwit them? I mean, honestly, right? We're going to use everything. We're going to literally use everything. We can use their own shit against them. Absolutely. Yeah, Raymond, this is so true, quoting George Orwell, right? First they steal the words and then they steal the meanings. Absolutely. Yeah, he does. You're saying nickname Jill says Trump wants to kill us with tariffs. Yeah, I mean, he wants us to be manageable, okay, in fear and ready to do anything, take any job, work for, minimum wage, do anything. That's what they're trying to do here. This is why I keep trying to tell you guys, we will be smarter. We will, somebody will grow tomatoes and they'll trade the tomatoes for their tires to be replaced, right? We're going to barter. We're going to take care of each other. Um, we're going to go find rich people and get them to give us money by asking them, hey, I know how to bake bread. Do you want fresh bread? It's only $20 a loaf, right? Meanwhile, you're selling it out in the backyard for $1 a loaf to locals. We're going to use their own stuff against them. 100%. We are 100%. Yes, I think this is true, Lynn. Are there really human farms in cages like animals breeding and starting with babies? Yes. This is what he did in his first reign of terror. If you don't remember, he had kids in cages, women in cages. This is part two. Also see Nazis. Yes. The a 2x4 hasn't been 2x4 since the 70s. See, so shrinkflation has been happening for decades and decades. But yes, people are starting to wake up in a really big way. I'm telling you, I have hope. I really do. As dark as it is right now, and it is super dark, I have hope right now, because people like Angie Nixon won, because so many trans people are winning, women are winning, liberals are winning. We're winning. When there's any kind of special election, the liberal wins. And the people like Angie Nixon, who not only, liberal, but they're very vocal about, they're just not trying to play the game, right? She's not trying to play the game that the corporate Democrats want her to play. So I want to remind you that this is going to continue separating the Democratic Party, probably until the party separates. Because when people show up and they speak truth, they get elected. When they show up and they speak corporate speak, they do not get elected. And that's what we need to learn. That is the truth. We need these people that are firebrands out there leading us. Yeah, we really don't have any regulations anymore. But I don't think this can continue. I just don't think this is going to continue for too much longer. See what else you guys. Your dogs are barking. Sorry. I'm sorry if you can hear him, but bless his heart. He had a long day. He had the guy in the basement fixing the hot water heater this morning. Another person was here, and Jasper's like, what is happening right now? Like my safety place has been invaded. Right, Seashell. But I heard Gary got power back today. Let me know if that's not true. Gary, Indiana got power back today. I feel like it's spotty, like it's going to be on and off again. But also, people might not know that I think Gary, Indiana is more of a black city, or more integrated. It's not a white, you think Indiana, you think it's going to be like some white town. And that's part of the thing, right? It took longer to get that energy, that water and everything turned back on there, because we know that communities, black communities, immigrant communities, are the last people to get services. So we have to keep talking about these things, because people don't know. Like Tracy didn't know a 2x4 wasn't a 2x4. I don't know. I guess you get another 2x4 and you cut it down to make the difference between the 2x4. I haven't seen Lucky Girl. I hope she's okay. Hopefully maybe she's on vacation or something. I I don't even think it's a third. True T 77636 says a third of the country is holding us hostage. I think it's more like 15%. It's a very small number that's holding us hostage, and we haven't woken up yet to our power, to the numbers that we have. But we are waking up. Yeah, I think Gary got their, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw it. People were saying that they got power back today. The question is, Puerto Rico, I don't think has water, and I don't think they're going to get it soon. So, they just freaking pick on these places that it just pisses me off. Will the Dems win the House back? I do think they're going to win the House back, and I think they're going to win the Senate. The thing that I'm not sure about is I don't think we're going to win it with enough of a number to make sure that we can get through our policies. Okay, so maybe we have 2 extra seats in the Senate, and then we have those Democrats like Fetterman that you can't count on. So if we only have 2 seats, or in the House, we only have 4 seats or 5 seats, it doesn't give us a complete veto proof or a complete, power, right? So I think it's not going to be a slam dunk. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it could be a slam dunk if people could get to the polls, if the polls were open, if they didn't close them, if they didn't move them, if they didn't do all these things. Right now, the guides just showed me. I mean, I showed you guys when I lived in Texas, the last election, that I got a postcard, a handwritten postcard from a volunteer dressed to somebody else who wasn't me, to my address, the house I had owned for 5 years, voted every year from this house. And it said, "Thank you for being a first-time voter." And it had somebody else's name on it. They used my house to vote there, and they don't live there. Okay. So I just saw today, this couple quoted this on social media. So one of them is Black and the other is white. And the white person said, my voter registration was fine. Like, I was able to vote in the primary, but my Black spouse was not able to vote. Their voting thing was gone. They were not listed. So I'm telling you guys, this stuff is really happening, and we need to talk about it. Okay. Okay, you guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to go answer the door, and I'm going to mute myself because I'm probably going to cuss this person out. So just give me 1 second. Yes, I did. I cussed him out. Okay. Okay, sorry. I mean, oh my God. Okay. Look, I'm telling you guys, this eclipse, y'all, people are playing in my face right now. I'm just telling y'all know I'm spicy. People are playing in my face right now, and I'm over it. I don't know if you can see how red I am right now, but I'm really over it. I'm seriously over it. I told him, I said, 3 times you came to my house. I went out there and I gave you access and I put my dogs up, and then you disappeared. You were gone. Like, I'm like, how many times do I have to go through this? Right. I'm like, I'm working. So anyway, sorry. Woo. Okay. Yeah. Jasper's eating his dinner. Did you guys see Rosie? That's another bright spot. Rosie sang a song to Donnie on, who is she covering for? One of the comedians. Look, these are bright spots. I'm telling you. Oh my God, Fetterman's not up for election until the 28th. Jeez Louise. Let me look at him. Oh, okay. He might be gone. He's going to be gone. I think he's going to step down. It might not be because he's stubborn. He's persistent. Well, I'll say one thing for sure. He's gone in 28 for sure. But I think he could step down in 27 because these investigations start happening. And again, remember, some of these Republicans are going to join the Democrats. Going to make me mad, but okay, whatever. And they're going to pretend like they're all about justice, even though they were just doing the injustice. But I think people like Fetterman are going to be investigated. The thing is, he's not going to step down because he's stubborn. Like when I looked at it, he's super stubborn. But he's going to be investigated. Why? Allegedly, maybe for insider trading, which is funny because I don't like Fetterman, but my God, like every Republican should be investigated for insider trading. Oh, power's still out for tens of thousands in Gary. Oh no, I'm sorry. I saw people say they got their power back. I was hoping that it was more widespread. Wow. And I think it's very hot in Gary, Indiana right now. And having been a person that's had no power when it was super hot, it's horrible. And think about it. You have no power. You can't run your CPAP machine. You can't maybe run a fan. It's really brutal. I'm really sorry to hear that. No, I do. I'm starting to calm down. My face is going back to a normal color. It just, I'm telling you, it's just the problem is this is a message for all of us. Okay. I'm not kidding you, for real. I just don't know how to put this into words, but the energy right now is that if someone's taking advantage of you in whatever way, little, big, doesn't matter, it'll get worse. It's going to get worse. And then also at the same time, Spirit is making, now that you can see it, like you can clearly see how these people are disrespecting you and taking advantage of you. So you can see it, plus it's getting worse. So now, if you want to get through this lesson, you do what I just said and said, look, 3 times you guys came here. I met you at the door. I interrupt my work. I put my dogs inside, and then you didn't do the work. You disappeared, and now you're here again. So all of us are going to be faced with this, and this is also global. So again, the same thing. That things are going to get worse, and but we're going to have the ability to really see it, almost sort of for the first time. Like, maybe this has been nagging at you, but you hadn't quite put it together, but now you've put it together. And if you don't do anything about it, it'll get worse, and you'll just end up kind of exploding. So FYI, I guess they're still doing something in the backyard because Jasper's still losing his mind. Right. Diane said, I got one of those scam calls and I was not polite to him. That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of us were brought up to be polite, right? To give people the benefit of the doubt, to not, be, to not stick up for ourselves. And that's over. We're going to have to just start sticking up for ourselves, really. Well, it could be menopause, I'm sure, adds a little extra heat to it, so to speak, for sure, right? But it is really this energy right now. If you look at yourself right now, today in August, and revisit yourself, like in December, if you look back, you're going to be like, oh, I'm not that person anymore. Maybe also we're impatient. Like we have just been through so much, right? And we don't have, or we don't even care to have, the nicety anymore, right? We've just been really just disabused of our good natures, and we're over it. 43,000 without power in Gary, Indiana. Oh my God. So I don't know. I saw a few people say they got power back, so I assumed that was wider. Actually, what I think happened is it's off and on, like it's coming on and then shutting off. I think the grid is in worse shape than they think. I think this could actually be a problem, you all. I think Yeah, this is a problem. I wonder if Red Cross is there. This could be longer than we think. It could go into September. I hate to say it. I don't know. When I go into the grid, things look rusty or unsupported, unsustainable. You know what I mean? Um, like the grid is not, it's broken. It's something is wrong with parts, pieces of it that need to be repaired. And everybody's pointing at everybody else. Everybody's saying, oh, that's your job, you fix it. No, that's your job. And meanwhile, nobody's got power, right? And I think Indiana is pretty Republican. So I think this is also going to could be a little turning point for Indiana. I think things are going to get kind of spicy in Indiana. I'm really sorry that you guys are experiencing that. Right. This is a great, thank you, Mary Stitch, for saying this. A social democrat, this woman, if I'm not wrong, this woman was an Afghan refugee, and she won the seat that Swalwell was running for. And beat the corporate dem that was taking APAC funds. I'm telling you guys, people are waking up. People are like, okay, we get it. Our country's on fire. We've got to pay attention. We've got to do something, right? We got to really, really take this seriously. So that's another bright spot. Thank you so much, Mary, for saying that. Absolutely. I wish I could bring Jasper inside. He's literally losing his mind. Yeah, yes, thank you. Yes, her name is Aisha Wahabi. Wahab. Okay, got it. Yes, thank you for that. I mean, come on, you guys. This is amazing. This is truly these are game changers. Big time, big deal. Big deals. Okay. I whispered for Jasper and I whistled for him and I just heard the dog door just go bam and here he comes. I'm going to try to keep the dogs in. Maybe I'll just hold on to his collar for a little bit. Buddy, you have to stay inside. I know that it's rough out, but you just have to stay inside. Okay. Yeah, Elon is injecting $120 million in the midterms. Should be voter interference. I'm thinking that this money isn't even from him, Raymond. I think this money might be from the Middle East. I think I think that it is interference, but I think there's also a law against foreign monies. So I think it's going to be discovered that this is foreign money that's also being brought in. And I think he's just in a whole bunch of trouble, really. Yes, Virgo Girl says, are they trashing the dollar so they can put us on digital money? They can monitor and control. Yes, well, because they're the bank. Did you hear that Trump got to start his own bank? He actually started his own bank. So not only can they control it, but they get all the interest. I mean, now think about it. The guys just said, okay, so if he gets to decide who gets the loans, who gets the fund. I mean, it's really bad. It's really bad. It's like the mob is now in charge of our country, right? But it's really also about grift, because if there's digital funds, then it can be hidden easier. But the guides predicted this digital thing a while back. I just didn't see it happening like this. Honestly. Oh, so they restored power to 300,000, but 33 are still without. Thank you, Miss Cruz. I appreciate that. This is the problem. Those 33,000, I think they're not likely to get it soon. Like that's the part of the grid that's not, it just cannot be easily repaired, it feels like. And I'm wondering if that 33,000 is mostly Black neighborhoods, because that would make all the sense in the world. Because I'm telling you, if it was rich white people, they get their power. They get it quickly. So we need to kind of keep them in the media. Okay, let's try not to forget about the fact that Hawaii just experienced their first hurricane in 155 years. Let's try to not forget about the fact that that Puerto Rico doesn't have water. Let's not forget about these people in Gary, Indiana. Why Moonbeam beanification says, why do some Dems say DSA is dangerous and fringe? Because the DSA, the Democratic Socialist, whatever it is, they're not bought off. They're not bought off. They're not bought off by corporations. They're not bought off by APAC. So if they're not bought off by corporations, they can't be controlled. And if they can't be controlled, then they do silly things like say, oh, we should tax corporations 30%, or we should have Medicare for all, or we should even have just, health care for all, however, you want to do that. That's why it's a threat. It's a real threat to establishment Democrats, a huge threat, because they're going to lose. Right? That's why I think the party's going to split. So does that make sense? You're going to see so much vilification of these Democrats that, they're already calling them communist and everything else. You're going to see a lot more of that, honestly. Great. See, this is great. Helen Wheels say we have an Iranian American running again for Congress. We need more of this. I love it. These people, can you imagine the stress that they're under to be in the public eye and running and be Iranian American, or to be Afghan, or even to be trans? I mean, these people are heroes. Like Angie Nixon in Florida, Black woman, they're heroes. These people are heroes. We need to support them with every way we can, whether it's just reposting, you even if you don't live there, you just repost it, just keep their post flowing, right? Keep their post out there. But if you can send them $5, that'd be great. And if you're in their district, please help them any way you can, because it really, just imagine how much hate mail they get, how many death threats they get. Can't even imagine. We get them and we're not even, you know what I mean? I'm privileged. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine those people doing that. It is crazy. It is crazy, bloat vu, no matter who, that Obama won Indiana and North Carolina. But I think maybe what happened is that voter suppression really suppresses votes, right? In Texas, they threw out 100,000 votes, and even Abbott, the governor, said it's a good thing that happened because we wouldn't have won. Look, I mean, voter suppression really does work. And also, I think that it's rigged. I really believe that. So the truth would be, when Obama ran, people voted for him. Now, the other thing that happened is there were people who voted for Trump because they wanted to blow it all up. They were racist too, right? I mean, there's lots of reasons why that happened. But I would say, look, I lived in North Carolina. I mean, it's not that red. I mean, it's pretty blue, but Texas, I think, is very purple. But people can't get to the polls. They can't vote. I don't remember how Puerto Rico lost their water. I really don't remember if there was a storm. I just know that recently people have been saying that they don't have any water there. I have Jasper. He's right here. I'm petting him. But you can kind of see a yellow piece of dog there. Yeah, whoever's saying bad things about Fauci, just remove them because that is not going to be on my channel. You can go to somebody else's channel and say that. Okay, buddy, it's okay. It's okay. Shh, 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 shh. I know it's okay. It's okay. He's inside. I have him right here. Yeah, I have him. Let me scroll to the bottom here. Apparently, I'm way behind in the chat. Let's see. It was a storm. Okay. It was a hurricane. Okay. And so now look, I have a good friend who's Puerto Rican. I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been to, the way the locals go to Puerto Rico. So I'm not going to say because I don't have a right to have an opinion. But within Puerto Rico, there's a real argument, conversation about the fact that should they get statehood or should they be independent? Okay. And again, I'm not going to say because I don't live there and it's a very, very, they told me whatever you do, don't even talk about it. But now they're saying, let's make Puerto Rico a state. They're trying to buy them off. And I'm telling you, I don't think Puerto Ricans are like the way you treated us. No, thanks. No, thanks. We don't even want to be a part of the United States. Who would want to be a part of us at this point? So yeah, there we go. Independent. There's Connie already saying independent. Yep. He is a good protector. He's a good boy. When is this going to stop? I mean, it doesn't uh, it doesn't stop on a dime. It just kind of changes. It kind of morphs into a better reality. Okay, so it will kind of change into a better reality. When Look, the bottom line is this. We are deep in this energy. We've screwed up our regulations. We don't have any. Even if we got a miracle and we got a snap election that happened, record never happened before, but it did happen, and we put a Democrat in the office this November. They still have to fix everything. It's going to take a while to fix everything, right? And also, we're going to have to go through the grieving process of what is actually broken because we don't really know what's broken. So one of the things the guides just showed me was the USS Abraham coming back, the Lincoln coming back. There's stories that we're going to hear from those sailors, and we're going to have to grieve that. We're going to have to grieve the country we used to be. We're not that country anymore, right? So we have to go through this process. It's not going to be snap, we're all better. We're going to have to go through a healing. We're going to have to go through a lot of versions of let's get justice, let's heal. Who are these people? Can we trust them? There's just a lot that's going to have to happen. So what I would suggest is everybody really focus on you right now. Focus on you right now. How can I get through this week? How can I get through this month? How can I make sure that I'm going to be safe? How can I make sure that I'm going to be able to pay my bills? That's really the most important thing, is just take this week by week, day by day, but also count the wins. There's lots of wins that are happening. The energy is shifting. I just can't tell you if it's going to shift completely this month or next month, or even I think it's going to shift quite a bit in November, for sure. But those people don't take office until January, so we still have some months to deal with that. I think we are going to have we're going to have midterms, and no matter what happens, we're going to have midterms. Will they be, regular? You know what I mean? I think they're going to be weird and shady, and the guides are saying they're going to add more evidence to the charges that will be placed, right? Because I think there's just going to be shenanigans going on. What would happen? Right. So you're saying how could Puerto Rico defend itself if it attacked by malicious forces? Independence is great, but you really have to have a way for self-defense. Well, plus, the United States isn't going to want to give up that base in Vieques or the military, the Navy base or whatever bases we have. That's a strategic. The reason we have Puerto Rico is because it's a very strategic location. So I don't see the United States giving. I mean, they can vote for independence, but I don't really see that happening. But let's say it did happen. What I think would happen is they would become connected to other countries, like you have NATO, right? Other countries are going to start forming groups to protect each other because it's going to be important. So they would then form hopefully some kind of connection with other people. But what they could do is instead become a state and then become a very, very vocal, important state, right? And get a lot of support that they haven't been getting, you know? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, all the ships are going to be coming back because the bases that do the resupply were bombed. That's what us psychics told you guys a long time ago. These bases were bombed, they were annihilated, flattened. Look, there's a lot of people, Jasper, you have to stay with me, buddy. There's a lot of people that unfortunately won't be coming home. A lot of soldiers, sailors, airmen, different military are going to be unaccounted for. They're going to be unaccounted for. And, they say things like, oh, it's only like 50 people that have died. No, it's going to be like 1,000 or 2,000. It's going to be a lot. So that's what I'm saying. We have to face all these truths that are going to be coming out, and then we're going to have to grieve it. We're going to have to, the stages of grief, there's anger, there's denial, right? There's a lot of stages that we have to go through, and we have to just allow this process because this is how we get through to the other side and we become a better country, really. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Jasper. I know it's just not fair. And we do love Canada. We really do love Canada. I'm sorry what we're doing to Canada and everybody else is terrible. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the beginning of these big changes is when he's gone, because I'm telling you, they're not going to fall in line behind JD Vance. They're not. Um, They're not. Nobody likes. Wait, buddy, come here. Jasper, come here. Come here. Come on. Dad's a good boy. I thought he was going to lay down. He laid down and just like kept walking. Come here, baby. You have to stay with me. Yeah, let's talk about this. Jen Glenn says, is King Charles sicker than he's letting on? Yes. Okay. Here's something else that happened. I predicted a while back that I can never remember their names. So Harry, I predicted that Prince Harry was going to go back to England, and he was going to go back and have some role, not the same role, but a role within the royal court. And here we are. He's going back now. Now let me tell you what I think is going to happen next. I do think that Prince Charles is sicker than he's letting on, which is common. But I also want to say, excuse me, that Harry and what's his brother's name again? I can't remember their names. Let me call. William. I think William, I think some stuff is going to come out again about William. That's not good. That's not good. I mean, really not good. Like Playboy stuff, but potentially other stuff too. And I think that I saw this 2 years ago, but I think that, yeah, lack of anger management, William's lack of anger management, but also his lack of anger management, but also he feels like he's better. Like he just feels like the rules don't apply to him. Okay. And so look at Andrew, right? Royals have been able to get away with stuff. And I feel like William is going to be, something is going to be discovered about him. And I think that happens potentially around the time where either Charles steps down or he passes, and there's sort of an attack on the royals. Again, remember what I just said, we're all seeing reality in a way we've never seen it before. We're making sense of it. We're so mad about the reality we're seeing, and we have no patience. We have zero patience. We're reacting really quickly to things. So I feel like Harry goes back to kind of help the royals save face, to kind of give it a more humane face, to give it more of a, because that's what Harry is. Harry is the people, right? He's really, truly Diana's son. And I feel like this is going to be a thing. Now, unfortunately, I think his wife is going to get treated. She's already been treated like dog shit. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if their marriage is going to survive it because, unfortunately, you know, Harry is a royal. I mean, he hates them. He hates them, but at the same time, he loves England. He's going to do it for England. He's going to do it for his country. He's trying to save his country from something. There's some kind of scandal. Look, they use the word embroiliolo. I want to Google this stuff, but I've got one hand on a dog. Anyway, I have a soft spot for Harry too. Harry's a real deal. He's a real person, So yeah, that's what I think is happening. I think that Meghan is not acceptable to them in any way, shape, or form, and it doesn't make things better because um, William is a dick. Let's just say it. Okay, he's a dick, and so I think some of this is causing, more problems. So. There's some imbrogliolo, whatever that is. Thank you, Mod Mox Good Sue. Thank you so much. I don't know why they use these words, but imbroglio. Okay, I don't know how you say it, but anyway, um, yeah, yeah. So if you're from England, UK, or you follow the royals, I think whatever happened with William and his wife when she disappeared for 3 months or something like that. I think that might come back around. I think more things are going to come out. I think as good as the royals are at hiding things, I don't think they're going to be able to hide it. This is the same energy of the truth is going to be revealed, and not only is it revealed, we can't not see it. We will see it. Like we can't ignore it, maybe is a better way to put it. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting when that went down because that means messy conflict. Okay, cool. Okay, interesting. Um, I predicted this a long time ago and people were like, girl, you crazy. And I'm like, maybe I am because I can't imagine Harry ever going back. I could not imagine it, but I saw it and here it is happening. So I think there's a lot more to it than that. And I think that what the guide said, I don't remember what video this was, but the guide said, you know, the commoners, you know what I mean, citizens are going to be turning against the royals. They're really kind of just being against the royals. And oh, great, he laid down. So now to hold on to his collar, I have to lean all the way over. Um, Harry comes in. No, baby, you have to stay here. Harry comes in to represent them, to be the liaison between the people and the royal family. The royal family has to change, just like our democracy is going to change. Everybody's going to get a change. Every country is going to get some sort of big change in the way they govern. So yeah, that's what I saw. Meghan is going to be treated bad. Her kids are going to be treated bad. And I think that she's not going to stay. I think maybe she'll go to like France or somewhere close by that's, not back to the States, but um, maybe they'll go. You know how Harry loves Africa. He loves the continent of Africa. Maybe they'll go have sort of a place in another country like that, where they're not so far away. They're not in the United States. I mean, I think that was the thing. They had to get out of the United States for a lot of reasons. Some of it, sorry, I'm holding on to the dog collar. Some of it is safety. Some of it is publicity. Some of it is that Harry just needed to go back. He needed to go back. He can't walk. Come here, baby. Jasper, come. Jasper, come. Good boy. Come on. You have to stay here, buddy. A few more minutes. Come over here. I don't have any treats. I have no reason for this dog to stay with me. Come here. Come on. Harry said he wanted the kids to go to the same schools he did. I think that's kind of publicity. I mean, again, he's British. He's yeah, you know, that's who he is. But also those schools can be pretty, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how Megan feels about it. Oh, the G is silent. Thank you. Imbroglio. Right, imbroglio. That's how you say it. Thank you. For some reason, the guides, sometimes I add syllables when they give me words. I don't know. Oh, what? Do I see any uproar considering? Can we believe that we're saying Queen Camilla? But anyway, we are. And Princess Catherine. Oh, yeah, I do see that. There's like a poison, like a. Oh, I don't think they like each other, y'all. I don't think, I mean, whoo. I don't think they like each other. I think they are, they're frenemies, okay? So they have to be friends, but they're really enemies. Why is that? You know what? Tea being spilled, allegedly. I don't think Princess Catherine loves Prince Charles. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't think she feels like an outsider. Like she feels like she doesn't get any support. She feels like an outsider. Interesting. Let's see what else is happening down here. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Sorry about all the shenanigans with the dogs and everything. Oh, Libby's here, Meister Tarot. What you saying here? You always got that Catherine's jealousy of Meghan's popularity that drove the wedge and fed false stories to media. Not a Catherine fan. I don't think I'm not a Catherine or a William fan. There's a lot of poison in there, right? Like nobody likes anybody. Everybody is like out to get each other and whisper campaigns. Yeah, Camilla is out for herself and her kids. That's exactly right. And I just feel like Catherine, yeah, I'm not a fan, but I feel a little bit bad for her being with William, but I'm not a fan. I can't just. Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, Catherine can't stand Camilla. Okay, I didn't know any of this. I predicted Harry will be crowned king. You are a long time viewer then. That was what I'm talking about. I did predict that. Because he is the only one that can. I need to make sure this dog doesn't escape. He's the only one that can bring the country together, and he is. So now I don't this so right when I do predictions, I tell you the prediction and then I forget about it. If things start happening in reality to reflect the prediction, usually spirit reminds me. So when this happened, I was like, oh snap. Now, even though this has happened, Harry's going back into the fold, so to speak. He's never going to really be controllable. But even though this, he's sneaking out between my legs. Jasper, give me 5 minutes, man. 5 minutes, Jas. Okay. Even though he's going back, and even though I did see him as king, I don't think that is going to happen this year or next year. I mean, heck, who knows? Energy is moving fast right now. He doesn't want it. Here's another thing. He doesn't want it. but again, this man, I'm talking about Harry, loves his country so much. He loves his people. He loves his country. He really hated being in the United States because he felt so distant from his people. And here he is raising his kids from his culture. So yeah, he would do it for that reason. He would do it for that reason. He would do it because I think also, I'm just picking up on Diana. He would do it also because Diana loved her country. And if he felt like he could help his people, he would. He really would. Um Harry's fifth in line. Okay. What do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. Is Harry really Charles's son? He is. But he took after Diana's side. Somebody else said he looks like Diana's brother. Um it may not happen, but I'm telling you, maybe he can do. It's almost like this is his destiny, but he could do it through being an outsider. They just showed me Hunter Biden, so that he could do it like that, like being like having a bully pulpit, where he can talk about parliament, he can talk about things that are going on without actually being in a leadership role. That might be a way that he does this, but whatever it is, he is there to bring his people back together, which means you have to take what Spirit says, but also read the reverse of it, which means there's a reason for his people to feel despondent or disillusioned. Remember, I said we're going to see things. So that means this thing with his brother is going to be pretty bad. And I think in the beginning, he goes to actually stand shoulder to shoulder with his brother because he feels like that's the only thing he can do. He feels like it's the best of all the worst possibilities. So that might surprise people, but again, he loves this country, and he's like, if I have to keep this country together to keep my brother on the throne, then that's what I have to do. So there's going to be a whole process to Harry that's not going to be evident in the beginning. He might start out being one way and completely turn around to be something different. Yeah, so Brexit, does that mean that they're going to do away with Brexit? I have never seen them doing away with Brexit, but what I do see is them changing Brexit. So the guides just said like taking the teeth out of it, or I don't know what else to say other than making it like, see, I don't understand how that would work, but that's what they're saying. They're saying they will make it more palatable, not maybe remove it. I don't know, guys. It seems like if they did remove it, it would cause there would be more upheaval. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but for sure, all the things that 45 is doing to us, he's doing to Europe, he's doing to Britain, he's doing to Australia, he's doing to Canada, right? He's doing it to everybody. So what did the guides call it? I don't know. In one of these videos, they said that Europe, I'm just going to use that as a placeholder right now, was going to go have they called it the great, they had a word for it, but I'm going to call it hardship, the great hardship, or there was something that they called it. So that kind of means that a lot of countries are going to go through some economic hardships, or hardships while they readjust to a new world order and a new world order, basically. Austerity. Yeah, they did use that word, Rummy Girl. They used austerity quite a bit as well. But then they also called it the great, I don't know, another word for hardship. Yeah, I know austerity sounds like that, but there was another word. But austerity is something they've talked about. So thank you for bringing that word back. Troubles? Yeah, yeah, something like that. Yep. But we're going to, it is also a great reset. It is a great reset. There is going to be a recession. Also in New Zealand. I know you're in New Zealand. I want to say that for some countries, instead of it being a recession, it's a reorganization. Okay, so the guides are saying, like, I don't know. I'm just telling you what they're saying. When a company does chapter 13 or whichever chapter is reorganization, right? What they're saying is we need to reorganize. We need to figure out, well, I can pay you this much, but I'm going to pay you more. I'm going to pay you less, whatever. It's a reorganization. I feel like New Zealand, for Canada, for France, for Belgium, don't ask me why. To a lesser degree, also the UK, because the UK is a little further behind or something. I don't know. I'm going to let him loose. And, well, we're still here. Darn it. Okay. It's important that I make this point because a recession is one thing and a reorganization is a different thing. Because you're going to be reorganizing. Okay, because for one thing, countries like New Zealand and Canada and all the countries are going to have to probably put more money towards defense because we're not going to be defending nobody. We're going to be reorganizing ourselves. So there's going to be a reorganizing of your budget. That's why it's really important to have conversations with people because you're going to be talking about it. Well, wait a minute. I want this money to go to farmers. Well, I want this money to go to people that can't afford health care. I want better health care. I want this money to go to defense. Everybody's going to have an opinion. So we're going to have hard discussions about where this money goes because here's the thing. In the past, people might be willing to just say, yep, we need defense but not anymore. So there's going to be many more voices. There's going to be many more opinions, and it's going to be harder to get consensus. But if we can talk it out, we'll be happier. If somebody shoves it down our throats, we're not going to be happy. So it's really more about a reorganization. The Great Retrenchment is an interesting coastal maple. The Great Retrenchment. That's got a lot of that's got a lot of energy to it. A lot of energy. I'm still on the live, but I need to sign off because I'm over 2 hours long. And poor Jasper has been the best dog ever because he's laying on my feet instead of running outside to attack the people in the backyard who may or may not be in the backyard. I don't know. The eclipse is the 28th. So I haven't talked about the eclipse, but I want to say that this eclipse, we have eclipses every year, okay? Every year, 2 of them, sometimes more. The 12th and the 28th, we have a solar eclipse, and now we have a lunar eclipse. I'm just telling you, this eclipse is intense. It's way more intense for a lot of people. And it is driving, I feel like, some of this disclosure, some of this truth. So the solar eclipse, something could be eclipsed, in the nighttime or having to do with the moon. 45 could be eclipsed. This is a time where he could be yeeted out of this timeline. But it is very much a part of this, like, really unctuous energy that's happening right now, this really frazzled and short-tempered energy. When do I think the British RF taken down? I don't know who the RF is, but the guides just said soon, but they also don't have clocks or calendars, so, who knows? But it's, they're saying taken down a notch, taken down a peg, maybe not taken down completely, but taken down a notch. A pretty good scrubbing, dubbing, something like that. I think it's dubbing. I don't know. Scrub, dubbing. I don't know. Somehow those are coming together. They're going to get taken down, but I don't think all the way, but there's a disgrace or dishonor happening there. I'm telling you, we have no patience. We have zero patience with these people who've been making laws for us, who've been leading our country into a hellhole, whether you're in UK or Canada or whatever. If people, you don't feel like people have been representing your interest, you have no patience for them. You're done. You're so done. Is gold going down? Is it depreciating? I mean, in the near term, I think it goes down. It could, you see my face, it could be like the bottom drops out. But that's the near term, okay? So I think in the long term, it stabilizes. But I think there's some like stomach drops happening or going to happen. So that means if it gains, it's going to drop. It's like really, I just feel like your stomach drops out. That's what I feel like. All right, maybe I should sign off before we get into a Megan discussion, a Megan fight here. Payments. Kat says she saw an article on the Feds talking about reactivating payments for already forgiven student loans. See, that's what I'm saying. The pain is that's the reason for everything, and they just want to inflict pain. They can try that, but I don't see that. Okay, so the guides are saying that loans that were forgiven or whatever, those are done. But there's some loans that are on like a hiatus, that are on like a pause. The ones that are on a pause, they can reactivate because they just push a button and they can reactivate the payments. But the ones that were forgiven are forgiven. They can't really do that. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to answer this, and then I'm going to sign off. Always Optimist says Harry can be regent until George is old enough to be king. I'm going to say that when I read your comment, there is give me chills. There is a real karmic connection between Harry and George. A real karmic connection between Harry and George. I don't know if it's good or bad yet. I haven't looked into it, but there is they either succeed together or go away together. There's like a real karmic connection between Harry and George. I don't think it's always good. I think it's like a seesaw. One goes up, one goes down, but their fortunes seem to be tied together in a way. So that's fascinating because I've never even thought about it. I mean, I thought about Harry being regent, but I just didn't think about George. And George has been in my mind lately. I think possibly some information could come out about the kids, the whatever of the kids, the care of the kids. No, Zoe's asleep on the couch. Oh, she just woke up. Zoe is like, she knows what's up. She's like, Mom is acting crazy. Go lay down on the couch until she regains her composure. George is William's kid, oldest son, the heir. George is one of the heirs. So yeah, that's who George is. Love to Zoe. Paws up. Exactly. Paws up. Yes, the dogs are good. Everybody settled down. They realize that they can't run in the backyard and act a fool. George is 13. I didn't know that. Wow, I feel like last time I saw him, he was like 6 or something. I cannot believe time flies by so fast, right? Because I don't really follow the royals very much. So yeah, I need vicious cats. Nice. Why not? Yeah, hit the like button on the way out. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my moderators. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everybody. Take really good care of yourself, okay? And we'll see you again soon. All right. Take really good care. Really and truly, we got this. We are going to get through this. We're going to survive and we're going to thrive, because that's the best way to get our revenge. That's the best way to get our revenge, is to come out this the other side and be okay, right? That's the way we're going to do this. We're going to help each other be okay. All right? Take really good care, everybody. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.